Alrighty. We are back. Fun game today. I think today is going to be a bit of a freebie, a bit of a kind of what's the word? A bit of dopamine, a bit of serotonin injection, um, and hopefully the game afterwards will be as well. The next four games in all competitions are quite easy, I would suggest. We've got certain players coming back, which I'll talk about later. We've got as I said, two of the worst teams in the league, and our Europa Conference League knockout games as well. And as we kind of get into this and talk about this game, I will address some other things. I've tried to stream a bit earlier. One of the things which I will be talking about is what you've just asked, so do not worry. Let me just quickly pop my chat out and stuff so that works. Out. And no, we haven't done bingo yet. I literally just started like 2 seconds ago. But yeah, so yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some other things as well. Because I said I think I've tried to stream a bit earlier, so we have a bit of time to talk before the lineups come out. Knowing my luck, they'll probably drop them 15 minutes early, and I won't have time to talk about anything. But there we are. First of all, let's go into where is this one? Boom, the bingo. Now, a few new things here. I've kind of rephrased some of the ones which I had in there, just because I feel like they were a bit too specific, and I've kind of made them a bit more all-encompassing in a way. First of all, on the I don't know why I've phrased it like this. I've done Get Rotated Idiot, which is one of my favourite memes. But this is just for basically if there's a rotation in the side that is very, very bizarre. Now, there's a lot of players in the lineup, and we'll kind of talk about them as we get into my predicted lineup. There's a lot of players that could be rotated in that would never be even thought about playing in a regular Premier League game. Now, the last time we played a weaker side, and one of the close to relegation sides, it was Ipswich, and we did see from Enzo Maresca some specific rotations in that game. For example, Disasi came in at right back. We saw Jurgensen come in for the goalkeeping spot. We saw Nkunku go up top. We saw some weird things, and I think we might see some weird things, so that's what that's for. A defensive howler, again, this could be for either team. Hopefully not us. Hopefully it's a defensive howler for the Saints, but yes. Clean sheet, again, this one is... I would be very surprised if we don't keep a clean sheet against Southampton. They have not been very good all year, and even though we've had our struggles defensively, I don't think that they will be the type of team that will be able to kind of force the mistakes that we've been making. I don't think they're going to cause us too many issues. We've got Say Hi to Ty in here again. This, again, is just an appearance for Tyreek George. I think that this is a really big game for him to step up, and I think there has been reports that he is in the matchday squad, at least he's 100% in the matchday squad. Whether he's starting or not is another question. Spoiler alert, I've put him in my starting lineup. Gusto goal/assist. This was one suggested by someone in the Discord, because, again, it would be so like Gusto to have an absolute stinker of a game last time and then pop up with a goal or an assist. Again, that would also count for last week's scapegoat, because we always have that one. We've got False Neto. This is for if Pedro Neto is the false 9 again, or playing in the 9. Caicedo book for a clean tackle, standard. Game of 2 halves, standard. Unlikely goal scorer, standard. Player book for descent, standard. Most of these are ones that we've kind of already had in the past. We have a Mugu cameo. Again, someone mentioned this in the Discord, but I already had this on here. I think that, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more when we get into the lineup, I think that if we do not see either Kiernan Dewsbury Hall or Mugu play in this game, I will be very, very shocked. One of them has to play, because obviously there's been... Not only is this a weaker team that we can afford to kind of rotate players out, but the midfield, especially with Enzo and Caicedo, looks really, really leggy, and this is only a few days after our last game, so I would like to see some rotation in the midfield. Risk a ball in full flow, ref/VAR mistake. These ones are normal. This is not box to box. I realised after I put this in Enzo B to B. I realised that might seem like I mean Enzo box to box. I mean Enzo back to back. This would be if Enzo scores another goal. I just have a sneaky suspicion he might get another one. Easy game. Again, this is just if the game's really easy. Someone scores a world is always in here. Correct prediction. I'll get into my prediction at some point soon. Set piece goal. Mono in Australia. One thing that has happened is that my camera has today randomly been freezing, so hopefully it doesn't do that. Hopefully we don't get upside down. Also, I hope you enjoy the kind of yellow lighting that I've got going on. I didn't want it to be too bright and white. I'm very pasty, so I didn't want to reflect off too much, so I've made it a bit more yellow. I have blue lighting as well, which I could put on at some point as well. But yes, Saints go marching out. This is specifically for if we basically completely batter Southampton and their fans start leaving early. Because this is a chant that usually goes on. Palmer 2+ goals/assists. Now I think that Palmer if Palmer does not show up in this game, I'll be very, very concerned, because I think that he has been in a bit of a rut in terms of form. I think his head has dropped a little bit. I think this is a game where he can really stat pad and kind of get some confidence back, so hopefully he does that. Again, someone in the Discord mentioned a Palmer brace for one of the things, so I already had this on here, so I got Nkunku stinker. Yeah, this is a negative one. I feel like if we see Nkunku again, I reckon he'll probably drop a stinker. And then the comeback is on. This is just for a Chelsea win. This is because I think that these next 4 games that we play could really get our momentum going, especially, as I said, with certain players coming back, and I will talk about them in a little bit. Let me just see if there's anything you're saying. I don't want to... yeah, we have, the thing is, we have the rest between the games, but the thing is the games that we'll be playing, the game after this game is a Conference League game, so I don't think we would go full strength for that anyway, so we'd probably have some rotations there, and because it's so far apart, I would see Enzo kind of giving some rest to key players that would probably play in that game. I don't think that we're going to particularly be playing like Amugu and Kinnan Dewsbury Hall as our centre mids in the Europa League games, for example. So, but yeah, that's the bingo card, and we will bring this to the front. We will obviously check those off in Feeling Blue after the game. I'm not sure how long Feeling Blue will go on after the game, because it is currently my partner's birthday, so I'm not sure how long we're gonna have to be able to stay like on live, but there we go. Let's get into the predicted lineup. I don't know if the lineup is out yet. I'm assuming not. I assume it will come out at 7 is what I'm kind of hoping. So let's put in what I think is going to happen. Spoiler alert, this is not going to change very much. I think Jurgensen starts again, despite us rotating, and last time we had a weaker team, we did rotate in our quote-unquote rotational keeper. I don't think Sanchez starts today, because I think Enzo kind of mentioned in his press conference that I think he's going to stay in the team, and I think it would be very bad for Jurgensen's confidence to immediately drop him after one mistake. I think that would be, especially considering he was actually pretty good throughout the rest of that game. It was just that kind of one moment. I think it would kind of be really, really harsh on him, considering how many mistakes Sanchez was allowed to get away with before being dropped. I think he'll stay in the team. For the right back, I'm not going to be putting in Reece James. I think him playing a lot of minutes in the midfield is a big case for that. I don't think he's going to be playing again because of his injury history. I think Gusto will play. In the centre back positions, now this is tricky. This is really tricky, because I really want to put Joshua Chempong in here. I just do not think he's going to start. I think Tosin Adalabioyo will start. And next to him will probably be Colwill. Now, as I said, maybe we get Anselmino playing. Maybe, but considering he's been kind of demoted to the youth team for a little bit with that partnership with Joshua Chempong, I'm not sure if he would start. Again, I said there could be really, really wild rotations in this game. In left back, it's obviously going to be Cucurella. He plays every game. He's the one player who basically has unlimited energy, and I don't really fear for him not playing. Likewise, and this pains me to say it, I think Caicedo starts at the base again. I want him to be rested, and I would love to see Amugu come in instead, or see Raksaki come in instead, or someone else come in instead of Caicedo, but I don't think that he's not going to start. Likewise, I think the midfield is one of those ones where one player will probably be replaced, but I'm hedging my bets by just putting our strongest lineup out. I think that Fernandes and Palmer will start again, though I could very much see, if Nkunku is taken out of the team, I could very much see Kin and Dewsbury Hall coming in into one of these roles and Palmer playing a bit further up. That could definitely be a thing. For the front three, again, this is pretty standard, but I'm gonna make a bold claim here, and this is more of a hope, and I'm kind of trying to manifest it put it into the ether and manifest this happening. I don't think it will happen. I would like to see Sancho on the right. This is going to sound crazy. I'd like to see Sancho on the right. I'd like to see Tyreek George on the left, and I'd like to see Neto up top. I think with the players that we have available to us, I think this is the best way that we can get everyone in a position that they can actually perform in. Last time we actually saw. We played against Southampton. I believe Sancho was on the right-hand side, and he actually scored in that game. So this might be good for him. I'd love to see George start. Neto was very, very good from the 9. Again, him running across the face and kind of getting into wide positions, I think it's very good. I don't think Nkunku plays. I really don't want Nkunku to play, so I'm kind of putting that out there. It's like, hey, please don't put him in, because we saw how bad he was. I don't care if it's in a 9 position or if he's out wide or if he's in a 10 position. I just don't want to see him on the pitch. He looks so disinterested in playing for Chelsea, and I just don't want him to kind of be stinking up the pitch when we have a player like Tyreek George who will give everything for the shirt. Also, I don't know if any of the players. No, I haven't. I've changed the. I fixed the icon. Someone mentioned. Last stream that I hadn't updated the icon, so I've done that now. So they're in, but but I don't have any of the players in there. I think it's like Anselmino, Amugu, and Chalobah. Obviously, Trevor is injured, which is why I think Tosin comes in. Madueke is still out. Benoit Badiashile is still out. One thing that is very interesting, and I will mention him here. Where have I put him? I don't know where I've put him on my document, but I will say Wesley Fofana is supposedly back in the squad. Now, I do not think he will start. There's absolutely no hope in hell that he starts. In fact, I don't think he even really gets a half of football. I think he'll probably get about 10, maybe 5 minutes of football, if he even comes off the bench. But it's very, very good to see him in the team. And I think that I think that we don't really point out his importance to this team, and haven't throughout the season, because as soon as he got injured, that's when things started going wrong. And I think part of that is not only because he's a good defender, but because of the way that he defends and his pace and the way that he can get back and recover. We can't play as much of a high line as we'd like to do without either conceding goals from that high line or having to drop back and kind of play a little bit safer because we don't have him there. I think him coming back would be so big for us, and yeah, just having him back, and that partnership he was forming with Colwill seemed to be a solid one. And now we've started dropping disaster classes defensively in the last stages of games and things like that. So hopefully when he comes back, that can help us in a way. Again, the main one is just we need to basically just be patient and get over that kind of that hump with the international break, because after the international break we've got a lot of players coming back. I think Lavia's a little bit further out, but we've got obviously Madueke will be coming back, we've got Jackson coming back, Guiu's out for a long time unfortunately. I think Benoit may be close to coming back too. Maybe we get Mudryk back after his suspension stuff has gone. No, we don't know. Also, I think Kellyman is coming back as well, and he can be a rotation option as well, which is good. Let's see if any of you guys are saying anything interesting. Yeah, Shim Mweka is another good shout actually. He could probably play in the 9. I would like to play him in the 9, but I just don't think that he's not a player that is going to be put into the first team, because even players that we've kind of seen that have been officially recognised and officially put into the first team, like George and Joshua Chempong, for example, who I don't have here. I don't know where he's gone. I think he's above what the pitch, and I don't know where that is. But even those two who have been officially recognised as first teamers now aren't getting into the team very often. So I very, very doubt that someone like Shim would, though I personally would play him there just because what else could go wrong. But as I said, I think Neto is a good shout here, and I should actually play him a bit like this, because I think this is where he'd kind of be a little bit further back. But him making those runs in behind, and again, hopefully we get cameos. I would like to see cameos for some youth players if possible, like George. I've put him here because I think that I think he offers so much more in a wing capacity. He offers so much more than Nkunku. And yeah, we could probably play the Nkunku thing and let Cuckoo do the whole overlap thing, but I just don't think that suits the team very much. Whereas we kind of see with because I think Cuckoo is a player that plays so much better when he's inside than he does when he plays outside. He doesn't have the greatest final ball, and he doesn't have the greatest pace to kind of get forward on those kind of overlaps and put the ball in. Whereas someone like George, who is very fast, can do that instead. But yeah, is the lineup out? That's the question, because it has just hit 7. I would like to see if it's out yet. It might actually come out a little bit later. I've just seen a report that Shim is actually in the squad though, and so is Isha Samuel-Smith, which is nice. Let me go onto the official page and see if I can find it, if it's actually out or not. The lineups are still not out, so it will probably be at 15:15, which is good though, because I do have some more things I want to talk about. Let's talk about a big thing. Oh god! And I addressed this in a TikTok a while back, but I never got around to editing it, and I never got around to actually posting it because I was finding it difficult to kind of put into a 10-minute time frame my thoughts on this protest that has happened outside the stadium. First of all, I kind of want to say I think that the entire idea of it in the first place was pathetic. I think that I've been very vocal on Twitter about how I think it was a complete waste of time. I thought that not only is it a protest that falls on deaf ears because it just there isn't enough people behind it, but it's the fact that there's mixed messaging in it, and the fact that the people that are protesting don't really actually understand what they are protesting, right? And this is the thing, and I understand this, and I'm a person that is you could probably tell from the way that I has it just come out? I've just refreshed it and it didn't come out. It's come out 50 seconds ago. All right, we'll talk about the protest in a little bit. Let's get the thing out. Let me swap to this real quick. Let's get the lineup. That's sod's law. I literally look at it and it wasn't out, and then 30 seconds later it drops. Okay, so pretty much. Oh, we're going to have to adjust this as always, but there we go. It's 94, that'll do. It's always this, like, annoying thing where whenever you insert an image into... Oh, I actually did it pretty well. And whenever you insert an image into the document, it always, like, reshapes the frame. So, we have Jurgensen, Gusto, Tosin, Colwill, Cucurella, Caicedo and Enzo, who is our captain for today. Then we've got Palmer, Sancho, Neto, and Nkunku. Oh, hang on, wait. Is this? I'm trying to see which way the kind of like the front three is lined up. So George isn't in, which again was a hopeful thing. He's on the bench. Hopefully he gets off the bench. We do see Nkunku. Now I think this, because of the way that this is lined up, I think this is just a very standard Neto on the left hand side, or Sancho on the left-hand side, Neto on the right-hand side, and Nkunku up top. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, right to left, Neto's on the right, Palmer in the centre. So actually, the way that this is kind of lining up is actually a bit different than we would usually see, because usually we kind of see, as I said, we usually see this midfield three, but it's actually kind of suggesting that Palmer is actually playing in a 10 role. We're getting the two deeper midfielders and Palmer's playing in a 10. Which would happen usually, but so this kind of makes me think that maybe we'll see more of that overlapping style that we kind of saw in the last game, which worked very well in the first half, but not very much in the second half. Let's look at the bench. Are there anything interesting on the bench? Josh is on the bench. That's huge. Wes Fofana again on the bench. Huge. Isha Samuel-Smith on the bench, which is huge. I'd love to see him play. I'm really surprised he's not actually... I'd be very surprised if he doesn't come off the bench today, considering Cucurella is going to be playing so many games in a row. He needs to be the player that kind of rotates in for that left-back role, now that we don't have Vega, so I'd like to see him get some minutes. Kiernan's on the bench, of course. Amugu's on the bench. No Anselmino is interesting, but Shim is on the bench too. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. It's wrong on the poster because Maresca said Neto will be a striker. That very well could be a thing. I spoke about this before, but the people that obviously make the graphics and stuff for the lineups, they don't actually get given the formation. They just get given a list of names and they kind of have to piece it together themselves. We saw in the previous one that they set the lineup out very much so like it was a five at the back and or a three or a five at the back, and it wasn't. It was a standard four with Gusto playing a little bit higher and playing a bit more of a wingy role, and obviously Cucurella playing a little bit more reserved. So yeah, very well could be Neto playing as a striker, but if it is Neto as a striker, this plays differently. If it's Neto as a striker, then Sancho will be on the right side and Nkunku's here. Maybe we see. Oh, it could be. This could be really weird though, because if we do see Nkunku on the left again, like we kind of saw before, that means that. You know what? This is such a bizarre thing because there's so many players here and they can rotate, and obviously they will be switching around and interchanging throughout the game. We could actually see this. We could see Sancho on the left hand side where he's naturally supposed to play, Palmer on the right hand side where he's naturally supposed to play, and Nkunku in the 10. That could be what we see here, which I think this is way more balanced. I would prefer this to the one that I put out before with Nkunku as a striker. Not only because I think Nkunku is just better playing off of someone, and him, even though he hasn't been the greatest in the 10, he plays better here. There's no doubt about that. This is where his position is. He plays better as a 10 or a second striker. But also, this allows Palmer to stay wide and kind of Gusto and him to have that connection that we kind of saw. So hopefully we see that. And again, with Palmer, I think Palmer is one of those players where with Neto being the striker, what this allows him to do is drop deep to pick up the ball. And not only when he can kind of drop deep to pick up the ball and come a little bit more central, but Neto can swing out wide into these wide channels when he does this, and Nkunku could go forward. So we can kind of see what we saw in the Villa game where Neto is kind of drifting out wide into these positions and picking up the ball over the top, where we can kind of see that when the ball comes through the lines and hits Palmer when he's dropping deep, then Neto can rotate around here. I think that's kind of what we'll see. We'll keep seeing these three rotating around, and Sancho kind of probably staying high and wide on the left hand side. I don't think he'd rotate very much, but these three will kind of be spinning around. So that could be cool. That could be very, very cool. Palmer's taking Enzo's position. Enzo taking Reese's in that defensive shape. Yeah, possibly. Defensively, the thing is, with defensively, I don't really talk about us defensively very much, unless I'm doing one of my tactical breakdowns. The thing with the way that we play defensively is we always play that 4-4-2, and it's usually Palmer that goes up top. And the thing is with these kind of these formations, and because Nkunku, if he's playing as the striker, if Nkunku's playing as the striker, he will be the one to press and be up with Palmer, but I don't think he's very good at that. If he's playing in the 10, I think he'll probably be the one that kind of drops back. Enzo will go to the left side, and then Palmer will go to the right side, and we'll have Neto and Sancho kind of popping up here, or maybe Neto and Palmer, depending on which side we kind of see. Maybe this goes this way. Maybe Nkunku goes onto the right side, actually. That would make more sense. I think this would be more set in defensive phases. This would be more what we'd probably see, with Neto being the one that's going to be primarily pressing the centre backs because he's the faster of the two and he's got a good press. Palmer being that second press, and we kind of sit back in our two banks of four. I imagine that's kind of what we see there. But yeah, for the most part, I think I would like to see it because let's be honest, we're playing Southampton. We're going to have a lot of the ball. We're not really going to see that defensive shape very much. I think that this is more interesting. I would like to see this again. If it isn't this, and we see Nkunku in the 10, Neto on the right side, Palmer goes here again. These three could just rotate positions. I don't think it matters that much because in game they're probably all going to appear in these three positions at some point anyway. But yeah, I would say yeah, maybe Sancho goes on the right. I just don't think that's gonna happen personally. If you've got, the thing is, it for me, when it comes to playing the wingers, if you've got a left-footed winger and a right-footed winger, you always want them to be the ones that are out wide. But if Neto's playing as a striker, again, it pushes us into the situation where Palmer will have to come out here because you need one player to be able to play inwards and one to be able to play outwards, like we get with Gusto. You have a right footer and a left footer. That gives the team balance. I always talk about that. I don't think it really works having two right-footed players on one side unless you're going heavily into, you want to get into the byline and cross the ball in, but we don't have a box presence, so there's no point for us to do that. We're a team that plays much better going inside because we have small players. So there we go. Dibbling is benched. Of course, I put him on my thumbnail and he gets benched. Of course. I actually said that to myself. When I put him on the thumbnail, I said, I'm going to put him on the thumbnail because he's kind of like the flavour of the month, Like, he's the one that, like, oh, you look at him, so, oh, yeah, Southampton, he's doing really well, Southampton. And I said to myself, I bet he doesn't play. But But yeah, so hopefully this is what we see. Hopefully we have a good game. I'm going to quickly address the protests again. I'll quickly talk about the protests before we kind of leave here, because this is all I want to talk about. But yeah, I was kind of saying with the protests, I think it was very silly in the first place. I think that a lot of the people there don't really understand what they're protesting. I think we've seen from what's actually happened, and we've seen the things that they are chanting, that a lot of the people don't really understand how the Chelsea hierarchy works at all, because they're chanting things against Todd Boehly, who has not had any involvement in Chelsea since 2023. So that's interesting. We've seen chants about Tottenham, which are completely irrelevant. We've seen chants about a ticket website that doesn't actually is just a complete conspiracy theory, and yeah, it's a mess. It's a very vocal minority, and like that's we can kind of understand that, and it's like, oh yeah, these are just people that are angry, they're trying to get their frustrations out with the club. I understand that. I said, I'm a person that if you've seen the way that I tweet and you see the way that I talk, you can tell that I'm very socialist. I am very pro-protest. I like protests. I think that they are a very good way of getting change. I think going about it in this way is rather foolish, considering you don't really have a clear objective and you're not offering solutions to the actual problems. The thing which bugs me about this is that it's just a oh, we don't like what's going on, boo, and they haven't said anything else. It's pretty much just we're gonna make a random noise type of thing. It's silly. And the thing which bugs me about it is not the fact that it's not proactive or not productive. Rather, the thing that bugs me is it just makes our fan base, even though they are a very small vocal minority, because it's going to get media coverage, it makes our fan base look worse. And I always say this, but like if you've got that ire in you, and you've got that kind of desire to like make your voices heard and be like, oh, we need change. Why do you not bring that energy to the stadium? Why do you not bring that energy to the stadium when instead you sit there in our stadium and you sit there with sit on your hands and you just stay in silence when the team needs you to be loud? It bugs me, but yeah, I said I already predicted when I was speaking about the protest on my TikTok before the protest happened, and I eventually never got that out. I said that this would be oops. I said that this would be a complete waste of time. I thought it would be very much smaller than I think the organisers expected it to, and it is just going to be an excuse for people that are influencers and people that are on Twitter and are trying to get that paycheck to kind of just spew more vitriol and kind of, just try and get reactions. So I thought it was silly. I think that we've kind of been proven right in that regard, seeing some of the things that have gone on. I've seen people throwing American money at signs and stuff, and I'm just like, that's the thing it boils down to. Again, subtle xenophobia there, not very happy with that, but still, it's very funny, because again, a lot of the people that are mad and kind of ranting and being in the protest don't actually know what they're mad for. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out as always. Went on a bit of a tangent there. As I said, I will be streaming after the game. I'll be doing my Feeling Blue, so we can kind of react to the game, but I'm not sure how long I'll be on, because I said it's my other half's birthday, so I'll probably have to quickly do a stream, do my reactions, then pop off. But there we go. I've seen the red roses in the chat. Yeah. I said I'm a person that's kind of very outspoken about that type of thing, but I don't really put it on this platform, because I want to keep this platform specifically about the football. But that's you can't avoid it sometimes. But yeah, as I said, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Hopefully we get 3 points. For a score prediction before I end this, let's go for, I want to see a hammering. I want this to be 4-0. I really do. I want to see a 4-0, but I'm going to temper my expectations and say 3-0. So there we go. But yes, as I said, thank you guys for hanging out as ever. I'll be back for Feeling Blue. Keep that blue flag flying high as ever.